Welcome to A Drunk History of Middle-earth with your favourite host, Rebecca, and your least favourite host, Christopher. He is currently stuffing his face with pizza and munching, and that is why I am beginning the episode. This will be the first time that it feels like in ages that I'm speaking to anyone who is an adult, especially my husband, because I haven't seen him for what feels like years. Yeah, it's a bit awkward at the moment. We're just like friends that live in the same house. Our toddler's been very ill.
We did have a good date night at the weekend, though. I slapped your tits about a bit. That was nice. We went for Sicilian food and wine. You had a whole bottle of wine, and then things got freaky in the car on the way back. It's really good.
Nice. I don't know what you're talking about. So, yes, our child has been a bit ill, a bit annoying. I've been off, and hasn't been enjoyable at all. I think Chris just thinks that it's a nice little break for me, off with a child. But yeah, not the same. Not the same.
Well, it's just we can't win because you complain when you're at work.
She's a dictator, Christopher.
Yeah, she is actually. And she shit the bed earlier. That was fucking funny. But it wasn't like a sad, like it wasn't like a baby shit in the bed kind of thing. It's because she thought it was funny. She was trying to squeeze out a fart and she shit.
Yeah.
That was it. Like she did it for purely funny reasons. And
comedy
we were
factor.
trying not to laugh while we were like telling her off and cleaning it up. But it was funny as fuck. What are you meant to do with that? It was like the other night. I said, right, it's time for bed. She's 3-year-old. She went, no, I want to watch Strictly. What the fuck? How the fuck am I meant to deal with that as a dad? What the fuck am I meant to do with that?
I don't know, because I didn't even know how to respond either. I kind of thought like, well, if she understands what it is, then like let her. But also, Strictly's on at like the prime bedtime time. So yeah. Anyway, I am quite boring and haven't done anything exciting this week. But I'm ready to record, and hopefully he's ate his pizza by now, because I mean, this is ridiculous. We're always on Christopher time. Guys, so I've had the child all day. Christopher has worked and had a nap, then been to the gym, then got back and said, "Can you take the dog out?" No. Luckily, when I took him out, he was good. He wasn't a shit. But it could have been a bad ending. It could have ended up that Bomber was in. I could have just let him run off.
Right, anyway, finished my pizza. Enough of that shit. Talking, same old yapping about, I do so much work. Yeah, well, one of us has to pay the bills, so shut up, woman.
Who does so much work?
Me.
I wasn't saying you do so much work. I was saying that you were working. You've had a nap today.
Mm-hmm.
You've been to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had a bath
yeah.
on your own with no child.
Uh-huh.
That sounds like a luxury.
I set clear boundaries.
I had to have a bath today with our child. She coloured in all of the bath.
Mm-hmm.
We drew dragons around the bath, which was fun. But we were dirtier when we got out the bath than when we went in.
You did come up with some very good names for dragons as well. That was pretty cool. One was called Flame, Naldon or something like that.
That was her.
Yeah, she came up with some great fucking names.
Good names.
Yeah, anyway, whatever you're complaining about, the thing is, right, I've got a job and it's a career. I've been doing it for nearly 10 years. Like, it can be quite stressful, and I do apologise that sometimes I just want to have an afternoon nap over my lunch break. The lion cares not where he slumbers. And I'm wearing a dressing gown right now because I have just jumped out of the bath. But it's a toweling robe, so it dries me while I wear it. Absolutely fantastic.
And obviously he would never have bought that for himself. He's flexing as if he's purchased it.
Nope, not at all.
It was me who purchased it for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, ages ago. It's lovely. But it was funny when the kid shit the bed earlier. That was really fucking funny. But like we couldn't in the moment. We couldn't say anything. Like you have to tell her off because she did it on purpose. Like she thought she was going to fart, and I've been there. I
Well, no,
imagine.
she thought she'd farted. She
Yeah.
didn't even realise that she'd shit the bed.
See, it's funny.
It was when I lifted the blanket to move,
It's fucking
because I
funny.
was inside the bed with her.
Oh, I know. It's fucking funny though. God, it's fucking funny. Right. Clean slate. If you listen to this with your partner and you've got kids, and I bet the woman is looking at the man and say, "See, I told you." Everyone else is like that. See, you don't understand. You don't understand all the work I do. The house you live in, it's all cause of me. It's all yeah. Well, I pay the bills. Oh well, it's paying the bills. Everything is it. What about all the unpaid work I do? Well, you get everything you want, don't you? Well, you know, never.
Honest to God, you've got a death wish.
Right. Let's
These fucking white men.
fuck off. Just you're so fucking entitled. Piss off. Do you know?
I
what?
pushed a child out. Don't
Oh
speak to
my
me like
god.
that.
Oh yeah. Well, I did a magic trick. I pushed 3 inches in you and got fucking 19 back out when she was born. Ba-doom. But
I'm
right,
trying to work out 19 inches.
I put 3 inches in you,
Yeah, but
and
I'm
then
trying to work out
9
how.
months later.
Yeah, I know that. I know what
Well,
the
if you
joke
understand the
is.
joke, then
I'm trying to work out 9 inches. What
19.
19 looks
inches.
like.
I don't know, a foot long and a half, then an extra bit.
I
Yeah,
need a tape measure.
it's a foot long and a half, yeah. It's a foot long sandwich, then a half, and then a little bit of bread.
So certainly, I certainly
I don't
did
know how
not
long
push that
I don't
out.
know how long babies are.
I don't remember that
Do you
sort
know
of
the
thing.
do you know, right, I'm talking to, well, not just men, there'll be women here who listen to this as well. And if you're having this conversation with your partner where you're looking at each other absolute daggers, where you're like, "Oh, Becca's right. Oh, Chris is right." I want you to understand the strain that the, quote unquote breadwinner is under in a
Oh,
relationship. No,
fucking
no,
hell.
no.
Here we go again.
Do you know how difficult it is? Do you know how
Boring.
difficult it is for me to never really bring it up that you're I'm the reason we have a roof over our heads? Do you know how hard
You
that is?
bring this up all the time.
Yes,
You literally say it
yes,
all of the
because
time.
I'm just a man. I'm just a man, just like Jesus was a man. Am
You
I
are
like
a
Jesus?
dick.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I am like
This
Jesus.
you'll have to take this all out because this is damaging for your image.
I don't have an image.
This is damaging.
I don't have an image. But we do have, and it's really funny that this is the intro because today I actually I cried a little bit while I was doing the research for this because we're going to tell the story of, well, the first part of the story of
Bomber stand on your nuts again.
no, of Arwen and Aragorn and how they meet and everything, but there's also something really touching in there about Tolkien and his wife, Edith, which when I sent you the picture of their grave and stuff. So while I was doing the research for this episode, like I shed a little manly tear because I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So yes, this is the third part of our series on Aragorn, where we are covering the man, the myth, the legend. The first episode, we covered his names and titles, and we also covered various aspects of his being, which being the elf stone is one of his main belongings. Yes. Then last episode was my favourite, where we covered his family, his ancestors, his mum, who was a very interesting character to research, and his dad, who surprisingly not really got much going on, has he? The amount of times you say Aragorn, son of Arathorn, and then it's like,
Nah, he's just the
he
breadwinner.
just died. Just died.
He's just the breadwinner for the house, and
But
that's it.
arguably in that relationship, it was the mum who was the breadwinner. She got them to Uncle Elrond's, you know. So yeah, and I have fully, and I feel like a boring, averagely attractive white woman when I say this. I'm just burning all my bridges today, aren't I? But I have manifested something into the universe. Ever since I started doing the research for this episode, incest has been all over the news. And banning, like Keir Starmer.
So
Our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer in England, our Prime Minister, he refused to criminalise first cousin marriages despite the health effects it has.
that's because he's trying to keep the birth rate up.
I think it's actually because he's trying to win the support of like Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Asian communities where that is more of a common practice. So it's
I
to
mean, surely you have enough people in your
in no in
area
a lot
to
of places
not
it's
have to.
no a lot of places it's cultural, like Birmingham, Bradford, for example, with a high proportion of like Asian British culture, like Asian British populations. It is quite common to do first cousin marriages, and it's those parts of the world where these
Why
countries
though?
come from. Various reasons, arranged marriages. Well, I've actually, yeah. What are reasons to marry you? There you go. If you're someone who's married your first cousin, tell us. Even though I imagine you probably stopped listening quite a while ago, seeing how I feel about it. But I'll ask the one of the people I work with who's married to their cousin. Say, why did you do it? If you, I mean, then again, if you're not going to have kids, fair enough.
I
Uh,
mean, if you love each other and you're not going to have
if
kids,
you're not going to have kids, fair enough. But if you are going to have kids, which is in a lot of cultures, that is the goal still, procreation, then no, I do not think you should be marrying. But no, Keir Starmer, the thought is, and this isn't a political podcast, despite the fact I'm talking about a king, but Keir Starmer, it's thought it's to gain the support of. There's a lot of Asian, British Asian, BAME, Black, Asian, Middle Eastern MPs in the Labour Party. And those areas are where there's a lot of Labour support, so it would be in Labour's best interest. This is what happens when you're not ruled by noble people.
I just I'm just enjoying seeing so many shots of Keir Starmer being laughed at and not with. That last shot of him, like Donald Trump saying, "Oh, and where's the UK? They had to come last minute," and like Keir Starmer's like right behind him, and he goes up to him and he's like, "Oh, friend,"
Yep.
and then just starts
Ooh,
talking.
friend.
Yeah, Keir
Ooh,
Starmer has to like slowly like Homer
politics friends.
Simpson
Yeah.
into the bush.
Politics across the world is a fucking joke. Politics on both sides of every side of the aisle is a fucking joke. It's not about left versus right. It's about rich versus poor. But anyway, let's talk about a king who has loads of wealth. So these intros are getting weirder. But yes, right. As I was saying, I've manifested into the universe a lot of news about incest recently, so you can thank or blame me for that. Because it wasn't until I started doing the research for Aragorn and I started taking the piss about first cousin marriages and stuff like that, it's just been in the news.
Maybe
It's crazy.
someone like high up in politics listens to this podcast and they're like, "Oh yeah, do you know
Mm.
what? I haven't heard that in the
Um,
House of Commons for a while."
Yeah, just a lot of really old rich people in Westminster just being like, I'm feeling bored. Reginald, let's get the blacks and the browns to marry their cousins and stir up a ruckus. Right, fuck me. We're getting right off topic. Right, we've got a lot to cover today. We're talking about Aragorn. Okay? Aragorn. So last episode, we left our boy. He was 2 years old and he'd been fostered at Uncle Elrond's house. Great Uncle Elrond to the power of 61 or 62. 61 or 62 generations removed as his uncle, depending on how bad I am at maths. You can blame my daughter for that one because I was trying to count it at the time. But anyway, early in Aragorn's life, possibly before he was even born, but while his mum was pregnant with him, the wise decided that he needed to be kept secret from Sauron. The heir of Isildur needed to be kept secret, and his name was changed to Estelle instead, to Hope, what Elrond named him. It's very significant, and we discussed it in the first episode of this series. As an aside, the first of many in this episode, by the way. As an aside, in The Lord of the Rings, there is mention of the wise a lot. There's also mention of the White Council. Now, a lot of the wise are on the White Council, but they're not quite the same. But the terms are used interchangeably. The wise it includes people like Gandalf, Elrond, Galadriel, Saruman. Yeah, like all these people is when you think of the wise.
Yeah.
So you think, oh, but there's actually more than that. And we're actually mainly thinking of the White Council. The full list of people who are
So the Wise and the White Council are the same thing.
everyone on the White Council is of the wise, but not everyone of the wise is on the White Council.
So, like,
The
is
White
Radagast, like, part of the
Radagast
wise,
is
but he wouldn't have been on the
yeah,
council. He's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
I'm getting high.
yeah, exactly, yeah, that kind of thing, right?
Okay.
So it's there's a lot of women on the list of the wise, which is again anyone who says Tolkien can't write women has no real familiarity with the subject. But the term the wise generally refers to people amongst the children of Eru Iluvatar, God, who had a great knowledge of history and the lore of the world. The full cast of the wise can be considered as the following people. The first one, and this is the deep lore, is Adanel. She was a woman who lived in the First Age. Now, if you remember our episode, I think it was like episode 40 on the origin of humans and the first fall of mankind when we started worshipping Morgoth, that story is told through the tale of Adanel. And that's our first and original sin against Eru. And there's no, unfortunately for me, there's no etymology of Adanel's name, which I know. Adanel has a niece called Andreth, and the tale of Adanel is contained as a note within the essay Athrobeth Finrod a Andreth, the debate between Finrod and Andreth. So she's another wise woman. Andreth is counted among the wise in the First Age, obviously, and her most famous work is the aforementioned Athrobeth, which is my favourite Tolkien work. And it's about the nature of human elves and lives, human lives and elf lives, the differences, what they both think of Eru, the god, how elves have this hope that everything will be okay, how elves don't even know what will happen to them at the end of the world, but they still have that faith, stuff like that. But one thing that people might not know about Andreth is that she was a human woman who fell in love with an elf man. One of the only times we see this, where it's human woman, elf man, rather than human man with elf woman.
How did they have sex?
No, they didn't. This is a sad story,
Is
right?
it a bit like
No, don't. Go on, say your horrible thing and rob this lovely, lovely, horrible story.
is it a bit like in Twilight where
Yeah, these are the balls.
Edward Cullen
Yeah,
has to be very gentle when he has sex
That-
with Bella?
that's it. That's it. Yeah, these are the balls of a killer, Andreth. These are the nuts. If these nuts hit your chin, they'll break them. I'll break your jaw. You try and suck my peen, I'll flex them. I'll ruin your teeth. God, why do you do this to me? Andreth was a human woman who fell in love with an elf man called Aignor, who was one of Galadriel's brothers.
Sounds like you. You should be called Agnar.
Fuck, I ignore you, dickhead. However, elves were at war during the time that they fell in love. She fell in love with him, and this was during the Siege of Angband. Now, if anyone can remember, way back when on the podcast, one of the things that elves don't do is that they don't bear children or get married in times of war. Now, unfortunately, the Siege of Angband lasted 400 years. So he couldn't and wouldn't reciprocate her love. He did love her, but he couldn't reciprocate it. They couldn't be together. And he couldn't bring himself to do that to her because, of war. They both remained unmarried and childless, yearning for each other, which is really sad. But Andreth became friends with Aegnor's brother Finrod, who visited her, and they would talk about the nature of men and elves. And from that, we get a lot of information from the Athrobeth that I want to cover. I do want to cover the Athrobeth Finrod Andreth one day in full, but it's a bit of a deep topic, and I don't know, I would love to just for me, and I probably will just for me, but it's probably one that people who are like, unless you're really into this podcast or really into Tolkien or both, and then still haven't read it yourself, might be a bit of a niche within the podcast, but we'll probably do it. But Andreth is a name that means patience or long suffering, which, that's quite apt. And she was also known by some elves as Salind, which means wise heart. And Andreth is a sad reflection of what could have happened between humans and elves when it doesn't work out, when things don't work out. There's a very good reason that they don't ever really marry elves and humans because of things like this. Like if something goes wrong, it can last for eternity, essentially. Like Aegnor will still be out there. He'll be in Valinor, yearning for till the end of time. But this episode's about Aragorn, right? So let's just keep it going, keep it going. So another member of the Wise was Beor the Old. Now, Beor the Old was the first, he was the leader of the first humans to cross the Blue Mountains into Beleriand. And they met Finrod Felagund. Do you remember when I was talking about how when elves play music, they can make you see it? And the first time
Yeah.
humans met elves, it was
Yeah.
that was Beor and Finrod meeting each other. Beor died when he was 93. And this really upset and distressed the elves because they didn't realize how fleeting and fragile human lives were until then.
Mm.
So he's called Beor the Old, not well, yeah, because of his age at 93, but a lot of humans have lived a lot longer than him in Middle Earth. But it was a reminder for the elves that, oh shit, our friends grow old and die.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard on an elf, isn't it? Like, for the fuck, you're gonna die, but I'm not. And all I can think of is us with dogs. Like, it's like, oh shit, damn, fuck.
I mean, at least there's always going to be like, if you've got all elf friends and you're the only human, you're always going to have someone like a big funeral turnout, aren't you?
Yeah. What
Whereas
happened
if
to
you live
yeah,
forever, all your friends will have died.
what happened to Beor? I haven't put down. Give it a couple of weeks, get yourself a new one. You know, I won't ever have a new one. Are you sure? I've just
I
brought.
mean,
Look at this, and they've got a baby behind the back.
yeah.
I got him from a farm. This is Chris. I got him from a farm down the road.
Oh God.
He's had his jabs.
Ding 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 ding.
He's had
Ding.
his COVID jab. Just giving him just handing over a baby to an elf. Just like, there you go. The other members of the Wise, we've got Celeborn, the Himbo, Galadriel's husband, biggest racist. Loki, the biggest racist in Middle Earth, hates dwarves. And then you've got others, like the usual suspects. Elrond, the Astari, like the wizards. Galadriel, Círdan, Glorfindel, the badass. Gil-galad, the king. Thranduil, the king in the First Age. And Nerdanel, the wife of Feanor, the twat. It's a star-studded cast, right? So the point I was trying to make is that these people, anybody who is counted among the wise, so when Gandalf says there are many who among the wise who would not consider that a good course of action or whatever he says, like he's talking about people like this. He's not just talking about the White Council.
Right.
He's saying like among the wise. Point being, if they say it's probably not a good idea to have a baby kicking about in Rivendell called Aragorn, son of Arathorn, heir of Isildur,
You just do it.
yeah, you just do it, yeah. And so we return to baby Aragorn. Not for long, though. Years pass in Rivendell. 20 years or so. 19, 18, 20 years. Estelle, as he was known, grew to be both fair and noble, tall and handsome. And he would go on journeys with Eladan and Elrohir, and they would have adventures and do great deeds and ride their bikes and solve mysteries together. And these two fellas are Elrond's twin sons, Arwen's brothers. In the year 2952 of the Third Age, Aragorn was 20, and Elrond deemed it was time to reveal his true identity and heritage to him. And this was after one of his Jolly Boys outings with the lads, that Elrond looked at him when he came back and saw, quote, Aragorn was fair and noble and was early come to manhood, though he would yet become greater in body and in mind. That day, therefore, Elrond called him by his true name and told him who he was and whose son, and he delivered to him the heirlooms of his house. Now, what's interesting for this, right, that passage, that kind of implies that Aragorn doesn't really know who his dad was.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, yeah,
Like, I wonder what they said
your mum's a whore.
before then.
Well, son, your mum loves to love. That's all we can say.
He just believed he was a love child.
She loves to love an entire garrison of Rohan soldiers. She loves to love, son.
As well, it kind of, you want to hope that he's had some great life lessons, because it just screams like as soon as he gets those fucking heirlooms, right, let's fucking sell them. I'm going to go and get some pipe, like a whole ass of pipeweed here with
Aragorn, the gambling addict. Now, what? Yeah, so that he might not have known, but he might not have known his dad, but he definitely didn't know that he was the heir of Isildur and the chief of the Dunedain.
And the blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
blah, blah,
like
blah, blah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
the blah, blah,
exactly,
blah,
yeah, yeah.
blah, blah.
And Elrond bequeathed the probably very overwhelmed Aragorn some heirlooms, and he gave him the shards of Narsil, which the sword.
And he was like, what the fuck am I going to do with
Yeah,
this?
yeah. But the big change here from the films is that, of course, in the films, Boromir and Aragorn talk of Narsil while they're at Rivendell, and it's on the statue, and Boromir cuts himself on it, and then it's not until like Return of the King the sword's reforged and given to him.
Yeah.
In the book, they reforge the sword before they set out from Rivendell. So, like, he does carry the shards of Narsil for a long time, but then it's reforged into Anduril a lot earlier. But it's meh. I do want to cover all this in a separate episode about Aragorn's gear, and I'll also recover the Elfstone in that one, just because I couldn't stop from below my lord.
Aragorn's gear.
Aragorn's gear,
Do you fancy some Aragorn's gear?
his needle, his foil, his cotton wool, and his spoon. Elrond gave Aragorn the Ring of Barahir, and I have had to I've had to restrain myself a lot here for what I'm going to tell you, because there is a lot to this, but I'm quite proud of the brevity I've kept it to. The Ring of Barahir is a very ancient ring and symbol of friendship and unity between humans and elves. It's tied to the elf Finrod Felagund, and he gave it to the human Barahir during Dagor Bragollach, the Battle of Sudden Flame, in the First Age, after Barahir rescued Finrod from a very, very bad spot. Through the years, it's had its own stories and is tied to the kings of Numenor and Arnor, before ending up with the Snow People, who later traded/ransomed it back to the Rangers of the North after the death of Arvedui, the last king of the North before Aragorn, who we've mentioned briefly before. But again, I don't want to go too deep. That's all you need for now. Very important ring, like mine. There's another heirloom, apart from the ring and the sword, but Elrond holds on to this one. And this is the Scepter of Annúminas, which is the symbol of office. This is the kingly scepter. That is it's an ancient symbol of office from Aragorn's Númenórean ancestors.
He's like, boy, you don't want to be seen with this on you.
Yeah, exactly. You get jumped. When you're going for Aragorn's gear and you get jumped by orcs. Originally, the Scepter of Annúminas denoted the lords of Andúnier, and then became a symbol of the kings of the north, Arnor, until the death of Arvedui, where it was kept at Rivendell. And that's all we'll say for now, except it's just a big old stick made of silver. That's the Scepter of Annúminas.
Okay.
But again, I'm holding myself in, So Aragorn gets his, like, you're a wizard, Aragorn, from Elrond, like, gets told he's very important, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And Elrond tells him, with these you may yet do great deeds, for I foretell that the span of your life shall be greater than the measure of men, unless evil befalls you, or you fail at the test. But the test will be hard and long.
Oh, God. Fucking end it now.
Well, so the very next day, Aragorn is walking in the woods around Rivendell. He's by himself. Buzzing. He's buzzing. He's just found out he's a fucking king, the heir of kings. He's a chieftain of the Dunedain. He's someone. He's feeling good, right? He's a descendant of kings. He's feeling good. And Aragorn is singing. And the song he is singing is the song of Beren and Luthien, sometimes called the Lay of Luthien, sometimes called the Lay of Leithian, contained within the book The Lays of Beleriand, which is my favourite of Tolkien's works. My favourite of his poems. In the rhyming couplets version. Don't want none of that alliterative verse shit. It's very, very, very long, the full tale of Beren and Luthien, and I do plan to do a full read of it at some point. And Aragorn sings the part of this song where Beren meets Luthien in the forest of Neldareth, he spots Arwen for the first time. And he's amazed and gobsmacked because he is singing about Luthien to Nuviel, the most beautiful woman to have ever existed. And he sees Arwen and he thinks he's either slipped into a dream or that he somehow taught himself the gift of the elf minstrels who could make people see what they were singing. Do you know, like how Finrod Felagund could? And if anyone's listening who listened to the elf magic episode, that's the kind of magic that elves use, where they can make you see what they're singing about, and it's beautiful and it's art to like the highest degree. And it's just amazing. And for anyone who's curious and can't be bothered to read the book or has forgot it, I'll tell you the part of the poem that Aragorn was singing. So you'll have read it recently, actually. I think. Ooh, it might have you been past Weathertop in the book yet?
Mhm.
I think yeah,
Yeah.
I think you might have read this bit then. My rendition. The leaves were long, the grass was green, the hemlock umbels tall and fair, and in the glade a light was seen of stars in shadow shimmering. Tinuviel was dancing there, to music of a pipe unseen, and light of stars was in her hair, and in her raiment glimmering. There Beren came from mountains cold, and lost he wandered under leaves, and where the elven river rolled, he walked alone and sorrowing. He peered between the hemlock leaves, and saw in wonders flowers of gold, upon her mantle and her sleeves, and her hair like shadow following. Enchantment healed his weary feet, that over hills were doomed to roam, and forth he hastened strong and fleet, and grasped at moonbeams glistening. Through woven woods in elven home, she lightly fled on dancing feet, and left him lonely still to roam, in the silent forest listening. He heard there off the flying sound of feet as light as linden leaves, or music welling underground, in hidden hollows quavering. Now withered lay the hemlock sheaves, and one by one with sighing sound, whispering fell the beechen leaf, in the wintry woodland wavering. He sought her there, wandering far, where leaves of years were thickly strewn, by light of moon and ray of star, in frosty heavens shivering. Her mantle glinted in the moon, as on a hilltop high and far, she danced and at her feet was strewn a mist of silver quivering. When winter passed, she came again, and her song released the sudden spring, like rising lark and falling rain, and melting water bubbling. He saw the elven flowers spring about her feet and healed again. He longed by her to dance and sing upon the grass untroubling. Again she fled, but swift he came. Tinuviel, Tinuviel, he called her by her elvish name, and there she halted listening. One moment stood she, and a spell his voice laid on her. Beren came, and doom fell on Tinuviel, that in his arms lay glistening. As Beren looked into her eyes, within the shadows of her hair, the trembling starlight of the skies, he saw their mirrored shimmering. Tinuviel the elven fair, immortal maid and elven wise, about him cast her shadowy hair, and arms like silver glimmering. Long was the way that fate them bore, o'er stony cold mountains grey, through halls of iron and darkling door, and woods of nightshade morrowless. The sundering seas between them lay, and yet at last they met once more, and long ago they passed away, in the forest singing sorrowless.
Thought you said you were just going to say a section of it.
Yeah, it's too good.
Fucking hell.
But no, that's not actually the full.
I know.
That's not even the full Lay of Lathian. The full Lay of Lathian would take me hours to.
I know, but Jesus.
I like it, and
I like it, but I
Oh.
nearly fell asleep.
good. Go listen to Tolkien in my sleep, read by Chris. So he's singing that, right? And then he sees Arwen for the first time. And her first appearance is described in Appendix A, the tale of Aragorn and Arwen. And suddenly, even as he sang, he saw a maiden walking on the greensward among the white stem of the birches, and he halted amazed, thinking that he had strayed into a dream, or else he had received the gift of the elf minstrels, who can make the things of which they sing appear before the eyes of those that listen. For Aragorn had been singing a part of the Lay of Luthien, blah, 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 blah. And behold, there Luthien walked before his eyes in Rivendell, clad in a mantle of silver and blue, fair as the twilight in elven home. Her dark hair strayed in a sudden wind, and her brows were bound with gems like stars. So she's dressed like you'd expect Luthien to be
Yeah.
dressed. Like, and that's fucking awesome. Like, so yeah, if you've not heard of Luthien before, she was the most beautiful woman to ever exist within Tolkien, and Tolkien actually based Tinuviel on his wife, Edith. So he wrote her She was. He said he always said she was my Luthien and I was her Beren, and they overcame like things through their lives to be with each other. And Luthien in Middle Earth was the most beautiful woman to ever exist, and he loved his wife so much that on her gravestone is the word Luthien, and under Tolkien's name on the same gravestone is Beren. And it should be noted that in the tale of Beren and Luthien, Beren and their best boy, the big dog Huan, both die from their wounds after fighting Karkaroth, the biggest werewolf to ever live. Go listen to our werewolf episode if you want more information. Luthien later then dies of grief, so all three of them die. Beren and Luthien are then gathered into the halls of Mandos. You remember where all souls go?
Yeah.
Humans are then going to be sent out of the world to join Eru,
Yeah.
God. That's where Beren was going to be sent. And Luthien would be reborn again as an elf in Valinor. Or Aman, yeah, whatever. Doomed to be stuck in the world until the end of time. And for anyone who has never heard of the Valar before or Mandos, Mandos is he's like the biblically accurate. No, it's not biblically accurate. The Greek mythologically accurate Hades. He's not evil, not by any means. He's not evil whatsoever. He's very stern and he has a job to do. He is implacable, right? That's the thing about Mandos. He's implacable. But Luthien cannot bear to be apart from the human man she loves, and so she pleads with Mandos. She pleads with him, the Valar who's in charge of the dead. And Luthien does something no one else has ever done before or since. She sings a song of such beauty and power that Mandos is moved by the emotion of it. And Luthien was then allowed to return to Middle Earth with Beren under the condition that they would both live together as mortals before dying together of what I assume is old age. And they do years later. And that Tolkien created that love story out of love for his wife. And I just, this is where I cried a little bit because in the letter 340, which is written, I think, a year after Edith dies, they died 2 years apart. She died in 1971, he died in 1973. In letter 340, Tolkien writes a letter to Christopher, his son, and he talks about, like what he wants her grave to look like and stuff like this, right? And this is the year before Tolkien dies, and I'm going to read from the letter now. I never called Edith Luthien, but she was the source of the story that in time became the chief pan of the Silmarillion. It was first conceived in a small woodland glade filled with hemlocks at Roos in Yorkshire, where I was for a brief time in command of an outpost in the Humber garrison in 1917, and she was able to live with me for a while. In those days her hair was raven, her skin clear, her eyes brighter than you have seen them, and she could sing and dance. But the story has gone crooked, and I am left, and I cannot plead before the inexorable Mandos. I will say no more now, but I should like ere long to have a long talk with you. For if, as seems probable, I shall never write any ordered biography, it's against my nature, which expresses itself about things deepest felt in tales and myths, someone close in heart to me should know some things about things that records do not record. The dreadful sufferings of our childhood, from which we rescued one another, but could not wholly heal the wounds that later often proved disabling. The sufferings that we endured after our love began, all of which, over and above our personal weaknesses, might help to make pardonable or understandable the lapses and darkness which at time marred our lives, and to explain how these never touched our depths nor dimmed our memories of our youthful love. Forever, especially when alone, we still met in that woodland glade. Oh, I'm kind of like holding back tears a little bit now. Like it just got me, like because it's such human love.
Yeah.
It's so human.
I
He's
like that brightness
the
in
bright, yeah,
in
like
her eyes that
you've never
you've
seen.
never seen, of course, because Jesus, once you have kids, you kind of fully open your eyes to show the brightness anymore. But
It's yeah, it's beautiful. Like that, all of Beren, like that scene where Beren finds her dancing amid the hemlock. that was something Tolkien saw Edith doing, and
Mm.
that stuck with him to, I don't know how many people have ever read. Like, at one point in the 70s, the Silmarillion, I think it outsold the Bible briefly when it was first released. Like, they just weren't prepared for how successful it was. So people have read these things, and then they've read Lord of the Rings, where that's in the poem there.
Yeah.
So it's just so that one memory that he wrote and remembered of his wife, and that's it. It's just it's so beautiful because it's such a human love. It's like, yes, we've had ups and downs. There's darkness. We've both been weak. Between the lines, like, yes, we've been bastards to each other. Times have been shit. Sometimes it's been hard, but we still love each other. And
Yeah.
it's just like, and the fact when he says, like, he said the story's gone crooked and I'm alone. I can't plead before Mandos. It's just, right, we need to move on because I'm going to start crying. I can feel, when you feel at the back of your throat, it's like, so all that to say, right, when Aragorn saw Arwen for the first time, all of that went through his head. All of that context was there, obviously, bar the Edith and
Yeah.
Jolkin, but and he thinks he's come face to face with Luthien again. Also, by the way, Luthien's his great-great-grandmother at the power of 65, by the way. So he wants to fuck another one of his relatives, by the way. Can't get past that one, by the way. Luthien's also Arwen's great-grandmother, by the way. I had to put that one in. I need to drop that incest thing in there before I start crying about a beautiful love story between Tolkien and his wife. So yeah, thinks he sees his great-grandmother, wants to fuck her. It's not. It's actually his cousin. Still wants to fuck her. There you go.
So is this the first time he's seen his cousin?
It's the first time he's ever met Arwen. Ever. He didn't even know she
Right,
existed.
okay.
Which I'm about to get to.
Right, okay.
So Aragorn sees this woman. He's convinced it's Luthien, most beautiful woman. He calls out to her, scared that he'll never see her again. So he shouts, Tenuviel, Tenuviel. And probably a better voice than that. Just like his great-granddaddy Beren did all those years ago. And the elf woman smiles and she asks, what are you saying, bruv? And she says, why did you call me that? And they begin talking. And the conversation makes me laugh because Aragorn, and this is such a 20-year-old lad thing to do, you go from the highest of highs, I am the descendant of kings, and then he sees a pretty woman and his confidence plummets. He feels like shit straight away. He's like, oh, I ain't shit next to her. It's like, oh God, I'm nothing. It's like literally he goes from like the highs to highs, like singing, oh shit, I'm the king of the world, bitch, boop. And then he sees a pretty woman, he's like, oh, I am nothing. And it's said that he thought his high lineage was now of little worth compared to her. And this next bit, this one's for the nerds, right? Because I think Arwen flirts with him a bit here. Because when Aragorn says he called her Tenuviel because she looks like Luthien, she says, so many have said that, she answered gravely. Yet her name is not mine, though maybe my doom will not be unlike hers. So what, to me, that says is if you play your cards right, I'll let your smelly Aragog into my Arwussy.
How long did that take for you to think of?
Aragog and Arwussy,
Yeah.
they're the only two thoughts from when I wake up to when I go to sleep. I just need to get them out on paper. It's like being possessed. It's the only, I just need to get them out of my head.
It's taken, like, he started a whole podcast and he's recorded hundreds of episodes just for this one moment. He only did all of this, the whole backstory. He created this.
I'm just going to end the episode here. We're done. So she introduces herself as Arwen and also says, hey, we're distantly related. He's like, joke's on you. I'm into that shit. And she's called Elrond's daughter, and she's also Undomiel. Now, quick detour because this episode's too long for me to save it till the end. Did you know Tolkien was a philologist?
Oh, God.
But Arwen's name is Sindarin and means noble maiden. You hear that, Shrek? She called me a noble maiden. But the same Ara as Aragorn means noble, prefix, and Gwen meaning maiden. Now, this I also found out something great here. Tolkien states that Gwen is also a Welsh word that means greatly blessed. And I couldn't find the original letter for this because it was only published in Dutch, and I didn't think to reach out to Nikki. I'm only just thinking about that now. Fuck, I should have asked her. But anyway, I could only find the letter in Dutch, and I wanted to capture the nuance of it. But Tolkien wrote a response in 1967 to a letter from a Dutch guy called S.E.O. Jukes or Jukes. And the guy says he wanted to call his daughter, and this is where so the guy writes to Tolkien and says, I want to call my daughter Eoreth, which is a name that does crop up in Lord of the Rings. Tolkien responds to the fella and says, no, please don't. That name means old woman in Elvish. But also in this letter, he does go on to say Arwen's name and the bit about Gwen meaning blessed. And then, so, good call from Tolkien there. Please don't do that.
I mean, it's funny because last week when we were on holiday, our child made friends with another child that was about 3 or 4.
Oh, called Gwen? Yeah.
Called Gwen.
Oh, yeah.
And my mum was like, I've just asked that little girl what her name was, and she said Gwen. And I was thinking, no, it can't be right. I was like, no, she's definitely called Gwen. But it's because it's like recognised as an older name, like in this generation.
Yeah, I was thinking like, oh, what?
I was like, it's a beautiful name.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what can I take the piss? Like, oh, you call a kid Margaret. There's a kid who goes to a kid's nursery called Margaret. I'm sure. Like, all these names are coming back except Keith. It's the only one that's not coming back. Gary's not coming back.
Bob.
It's just men. No, it's Robert. Yeah, it's just all women's names. There's not a bad woman's name, I don't think. Eva Braun, she was a bit of a bad woman. Yeah, what else?
Patsy.
No.
Patricia, no,
very popular with the Spaniards.
Is it? Oh,
Very popular with the Spaniards. There was a very fit woman on Instagram called Patricia, and she was Spanish, but then her whole account was about like learning Spanish, and it was a few years ago when we were going on holiday to Spain. So I was like, all right, cool, big tit
hot woman.
big tit woman teacher. There's a woman I follow on Instagram. She's a big tit woman who teaches you German. It's fantastic. It's not Kat, someone else. But this Patricia. Oh, God, I'm proud of myself for that one. So this Spanish
I can't stop
lady.
thinking about cash and titties.
Oh God. Let's not say any more on a podcast, right? Oh God, that sounds like we fucked it. We haven't. Right.
We just did a beer spa with her.
Where am I going?
And her sister.
Right, we should. Yeah, don't worry. It was her and her sister. They were both there.
Incest.
Right, we're gonna start. It sounds like we bully her. Should we bring her up every fucking episode? Right? No. Well, my point being, Spaniards love the name Patricia, but I unfollowed her because she got divorced, and then her whole account stopped being about teaching people Spanish. It was about
a single woman.
It was about being single in your 30s and 40s. I was like, I don't give a shit. Like, teach me, tell me in Spanish. Like, teach me how to say I'm single.
So there is a woman out there called Gwen with an Instagram account who teaches people Welsh. Is that what you were getting round to?
There will be. There fucking will be. Gwen, if you're out there, there will. No, I swear down, there will be. Right, there is a woman of every. There is a German woman called Sue. There is a Spanish woman called Patricia. Like, anyway, where am I going?
Is Sue a popular German name? No, it's not.
I don't know. She's got big tits. I don't know. She's hot. She's cosplayer.
Is that real?
Yeah, I'll show you later. Yeah, I'll show you later. Because it's like, oh, how would you say this in German? It's normally something like filthy, and I'm like,
oh yeah, I think I've seen this one. Yeah.
Shit, I've just realised when you're scrolling.
You just bit your lip.
When you're scrolling.
You just bit your lip thinking about that Instagram account.
I'm just thinking like when you're scrolling in bed on a night when I'm asleep, you're just like, oh, that looks familiar. Who's like this? You can see in the corner, can't you, who's like the real? So it's like, that day, bastard.
That one who places the books on her ass.
Oh, that's all of them. You can't narrow that down. Anyway, that's reading. That's different. They're not teaching me a language. And it's shit anyway. Right. Hey, right. Arwen. Back to Arwen. By either oversight or luck, Arwen's name is exactly the same in Quenya as it is in Sindarin. Aragorn still addresses her as Arwen when he uses Quenya. The name doesn't change. It's cool. But she has the epithet title, like remember you get an epithet, it's a title, of Undomiel, which means even star. Undome meaning twilight and El meaning the in Spanish. Thanks, Patricia. No, El means star. Like Gil-galad, star. Wait, no. L-N-A-L. Anyway, whatever. Other names. I'm thinking about the Spanish one. Right. Other names are El Reniel and Elerondiel, meaning daughter of Elrond. Elreniel is daughter of Elrond in Sindarin, and Elerondiel is daughter of Elrond in Quenya. And the last tidbit about Arwen for now is that until 1949, the character was called Finduilas, which was then changed to Arwen. That name may sound familiar to some people because it's the name of an elf lass from the First Age. She was the sister of Gil-galad, and she fell in love with Turin, who thankfully didn't give a shit about her. She dodged a fucking bullet there. There was a love triangle because there was an elf called Gwyndor who loved Finduilas, but she loved Turin. And that's a story for another day because there's too much incest already for me to bring up Turin in this. But it all comes back to incest. We are down the rabbit hole, people. We are down the rabbit hole. So Aragorn and Arwen meet, and boy, howdy does he fall for her. My God. But unlike Luthien, she doesn't fall for him straight away. It's going to be another 29 years before that happens. Arwen doesn't really seem to return his feelings. She's like, yeah, he's all right. He's all right. No, I'm not really into dogs. I like puppies. You know, like that's how an elf would react. And Aragorn asks how such a treasure can be hidden at Rivendell. Such a sly dog at 21-year-old. I'm imagining we've all done this, lads, right? Even some of the bisexual girls out there, right? We've all done this. Well, there's lesbians as well, I suppose. But we've all done this, right? You're 20, you're 21, you see an attractive older woman, you want her, but you just got no skin in the game. You've got confidence, but you don't know how the fuck this works. You're pitching a tent in your pants and you're trying to pull an older woman and it just doesn't fucking work. It goes down like a lead balloon. We've all been there. It's happened. I once told a woman when I was 20, I couldn't think of anything else to say. She asked what I do for a living and I said, hopefully you. Completely, I could hear her I could hear her fanny drying up over the music. Like it was.
I met you when you were 23, didn't I?
No, 24.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Phew. Jesus.
You're younger than me. So, yeah.
Phew.
Yeah. Anyway, but she says, well, I've been staying at my grandmother's in Lothlorien for a long time, so that's why she wasn't around. So Galadriel is her grandmother. It's her mother's mother, right?
Yeah.
But Arwen's mother, Elrond's wife, has already left Middle-earth by this point. She was attacked by orcs and she couldn't heal from the trauma. So she went, but the less said that about that. You know, nothing. So it's said that Arwen, to Aragorn, looked 20-year-old as well. And he was gobsmacked to realise how long elves actually live. Because at this point, she was about 2,711 years old. And he falls in love with her.
Had it just never come up in conversation in the 20 years he was under Uncle Elrond?
I mean, think about how oblivious most 20-year-olds are. I don't fucking know. Well,
I mean, does that mean that,
maybe it's a difference between knowing something academically and then coming face to face with a woman who looks like she's exactly your age, only to find out that she is 2,690 years older than you.
But, like, isn't it strange? Like, how weird would it have looked to, like, 20-year-old elf boys playing with a 2-year-old for that time till he got to 20? Like,
no, we've covered this before, though. We covered this in the earlier episodes. The elves mature slower over hundreds and hundreds of years sometimes, or they stay at certain.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. They're like go and play with your cousin. That's.
Yeah.
And plus, like once he's an adult, he's an adult. Like we're on kind of even footing there. Like an adult and adult. Like, you know, I'm saying like that. Yes, there's massive differences, but they're also different species. But also, there's not really any other humans for him to play with.
Feels really like unfathomable.
It's eldritch. It is. It's eldritch. It's something that the human mind is scarcely able to comprehend. It is eldritch in the best sense of the word.
It's unfathomable that a being that had been alive for that long wouldn't have so much wisdom that would stop them from being with a human.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's like, oh well, he is cute. Well, like that type of.
Well, you could say that about all.
It grows on.
That's why there's only 4.
Crows on her.
There's 4 well, there's a few more, but 4 notable elf relationships. Only 3 of them work, and even then, Idril and Tuor, he goes and he becomes immortal, the only human to ever become an immortal. That is the only happy ending for me, as far as I was aware. But well, no, Beren and Luthien ended happy. They both died. Aragorn and Arwen doesn't end that nicely. But anyway, we'll get there. Yeah, but there's a point. That's why it happens so rarely, because the difference between them is so vast.
Yeah.
That's why. And this is not rationale for anyone who's an animal fucker who's listening to this and is like, yeah, this is the argument I'm going to use. This is it. The gulf is vast, but it can be crossed. Right. After this day, Aragorn seems a bit distant, and his mum picks up on it, and she makes her feelings about race mixing known, which we mentioned last episode. She ain't a fan of it. Boy, dem's is dem, and we's is we. You leave that there elf girl alone. I'm sure she got many other knife-eareds who's wanting to get up in that. Why don't you get yourself a nice Dunlending girl? Get yourself one of those nice Dunedain girls. Dunedain, like me and your daddy, boy. Right, we need to get through this because something's happening to me and I'm not sure what.
I think it's exhaustion
Yeah.
because I feel like I'm just comatose and just.
Right, we'll get through this because
Is this a dream?
I think I've genuinely went a little bit nuts, like researching this stuff, because it's been so fucking interesting. So Elrond notices, right? You can't hide shit from Elrond. And later that year, he calls Aragorn to him, and I'll read from Appendix A in this bit. So, but Aragorn and Elrond talk. Elrond tells Aragorn how unlikely things are to work out between him and Arwen, and Elrond points out that there is shit to do before Aragorn can take any wife, never mind Arwen. And the conversation goes, but Elrond saw many things and read many hearts. One day, therefore, before the fall of the year, he called Aragorn to his chamber, and he said, Aragorn, Arathorn's son, Lord of the Dunedain, listen to me. A great doom awaits you, either to rise above the height of all your fathers since the days of Elendil, or to fall into darkness with all that is left of your kin. Many years of trial lie before you. You shall neither have wife, nor bind any woman to you in troth, until your time comes and you are found worthy of it. Then Aragorn was troubled, and he said, Can it be that my mother has spoken of this? No, indeed, said Elrond. Your own eyes have betrayed you. But I do not speak of my daughter alone. You shall be betrothed to no man's child as of yet. But as for Arwen the Fair, Lady of Imladris and of Lorien, even star of her people, she is of lineage greater than yours, and she has lived in the world already so long that to her you are but a yearling shoot beside a young birch of many summers. She is too far above you, and so I think it may well seem to her. But even if it were not so, and her heart turned towards you, I should be grieved because of the doom that is laid upon us. What is that doom? Said Aragorn. That so long as I abide here, she shall live with the youth of the Eldar, answered Elrond, and when I depart, she shall go with me if she so chooses. I see, said Aragorn, that I have turned my eyes to a treasure no less dear than the treasure of Thingol that Beren once desired. Such is my fate. Then suddenly the foresight of his kindred came to him, and he said, But lo, Master Elrond, the years of your abiding run short at last, and the choice must soon be laid upon your children, to either part with you or with a Middle-earth. Truly, said Elrond, soon, as we account it, though many years of men must still pass. But there will be no choice before Arwen, my beloved, unless you, Aragorn, Arathorn's son, come between us and bring one of us, you or me, to a bitter parting beyond the end of the world. You do not know yet what you desire of me. He sighed, and after a while, looking gravely upon the young man, said, The years will bring what they will. We will speak no more of this until many have passed. The days darken, and much evil is to come. And that's it. That sets it out there. That's the tragedy here. And this, from a father's point of view, is fucking heartbreaking. Aragorn gets a glimpse of the future. Seems to be fucking dime a dozen amongst his people. Just, oh yeah, whatever. But Elrond, he preemptively is heartbroken. He's getting preemptively heartbroken because he knows more than Aragorn could ever appreciate because of the reasons you said just now about elves being so different to us and so old and so wise, that he knows just how wretched this parting will be. Until the literal end of time, he won't see his daughter again, or he might not. And he still, I think he still has hope. He still has Estelle that things are going to turn out okay for him, for Elrond, and for his family.
Well, because it's so rare that that would happen anyway, and she's not at that point herself. Like, he'll have had conversations with her, and she's probably like, that young buck.
Ew, no,
Yeah.
ew, the one out
He's my
there.
cousin, man.
Yeah, the one out there chopping wood with that big ass. It's top off. It's top off. Splitting that log apart with his hands. No, Dad, no, no, no. I'm not interested in. I'm just
I
gonna have
like
a drink.
smooth
Just
chests.
gonna have a drink of water. But it's a tough conversation, right? But I don't want you to get the impression that there's anything wrong between them. Aragorn leaves Rivendell very soon afterwards, but they leave in love. He is always welcome there. Elrond loves him as a son, and I imagine he loves Elrond as a father.
It's probably, as well, probably never crossed Elrond's mind until now
Yeah.
that there ever would be a parting.
Well,
Because,
not between him and Arwen.
no, exactly, that's what I mean.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
Yeah.
it'll have never, like, in a human world, like, historically, a dad would know that he was going to have to give his daughter away.
Yeah.
Whereas in an elven world, they don't.
And even if he does, it's probably with another elf, so they can go to Valinor together.
Yeah.
Eventually.
And it's like happy families. But as well, he says, like, a man's child. So that's still him not putting much stock into the fact that she will like him. Because she says, like,
well, that's the bit where he's saying, like, before you marry anybody.
I thought he said any man's child.
Any man, yeah, like any other woman. Yeah, it's any man's child. Before you marry any man's child at all. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, I suppose that could be interpreted that way, couldn't it? Like, even so, probably
Because he's not a man, he's a man elf. He's a male elf. He's not a man.
Yeah.
Man. He's not a male man. He's a male elf.
Right.
So he can only marry any man's child.
Okay, I'm getting confused. I'm going to move on. So
Many men.
So Aragorn leaves Rivendell and he goes forward into the wide world and begins his long labours. And this is where it's just like Heracles, right? And any good kind of story. He sets out amongst his great labours and he makes many friends and he works against the enemy of all free people of Middle-earth, Sauron. And it's said here, and I'll read what he's up to, right? It's a lot of reading from Appendix A today. His ways were hard and long, and he became somewhat grim to look upon, unless he chanced to smile. And yet he seemed to men worthy of honour, as a king that is in exile, and he did not hide his true shape. For he went in many guises, and won renown under many names. He rode in the host of the Rohirrim, and fought for the Lord of the Gondor by the land and sea. So here is where we get to Aragorn's, some of his most famous exploits, right? Between the years 2957 and 2980 of the Third Age. When he was under the name of Thorongil, he served the King Thengel of Rohan, marching to war with him. Then he served steward Ecthelion II of Gondor, Denethor's dad, during which time Aragorn wins much fame and renown, or Thengel's, Theoden's dad. He wins fame and renown in Gondor when he overthrows the captain of the Haven at Umbar during a raid. So this Umbar bit we discussed in the Umbar episode, but Ecthelion is anticipating an attack from Sauron, who's recently returned to Mordor. So Thorongil, Aragorn, advises Ecthelion that if Sauron attacks, the southern fiefs of Gondor will be vulnerable to attacks by Umbar and the Corsairs. So the southern fiefs of Gondor are the lands south of the fields of Pelennor and along the coast of Gondor, where the Bay of Belfalas is. These lands are quite rich, and they provide lots of soldiers and other goods to Minas Tirith, such as fish that comes from Ethir, flowers come from Losanok, and stone used to come from Anorion. And a fiefdom, for anyone who's not aware of it, is an inheritable piece of land, and the fiefs of Gondor were the areas known as follows. Dor en Ernil, this means land of the prince. Dor is land, Ernil prince, and only appeared on one map before Christopher Tolkien added it to later ones he drew for Unfinished Tales. Then we've got Losanok, which is a flowery land inspired by Assisi in Italy. We've got Lebenin, the area where the city of Pelagia is located, the big city by the sea, and it means 5 rivers in Sindarin. Leben means 5. Five. Oh God, it means 5 rivers in Sindarin. Leben is 5, Nin is rivers or waters. Then Belfalas, it's a big area in Gondor. The Bay of Belfalas is referred to quite often. The etymology of Belfalas is interesting though, because Falas is Sindarin for shore or waters, but Bel is a pre-Numenorian language that nobody knows its name of. Nobody knows what it means. Bellend.
You've got a phallus spell.
Thank you. I've got a bell-shaped phallus. Shows up your ditch. Ethir Anduin is another fief. And Ethir just means mouth of a river, and Anduin means long river. So the river Anduin just means long river. Settlers in this area were probably the Nandor. Do you know the elves who started the Great Journey but didn't finish it? And during the War of the Ring, 100 fishermen from here were sent as soldiers to defend Minas Tirith. Umbar conquered the area for a few days before Aragorn and the boys from the Grey Company sorted it out. So that's brave. All you can send is 100 fishermen, and they go without question. Respect. Lamadon, unknown names, pre-Numenorian language. There's not much said about this, except during the defense of Minas Tirith in the War of the Ring, a load of soldiers turned up without a captain because their captain was busy defending the place, but he still sent soldiers to Minas Tirith. And the Lord of Lamadon is fucking mint. He's one of these characters you read about and you can just see it as a movie. He was a fella called Angbor, which means Iron Fist, and he led 4,000 troops by foot to Minas Tirith to defend and garrison the place once Aragorn leaves for the Black Gates. It's a really, really cool defense story because he's like he spends his whole time in Lamadon defending against attacks before leading his troops away. Awesome. It's like there's you can almost imagine like the desperate last stand type stuff there, which is like basically it's another Helm's Deep happening somewhere else in the world. And then we've got Anfalas and the Green Hills, which means long beach, and long Falas shore or beach. In Quenya, it's Andafalase, and in Westron, which becomes translated to English, it's called Langstrand. Nobody knows for sure how this really became part of Gondor at all, which I think is quite funny. It's just, all right, this is part of the country now. Okay. I think that's great. And during Lord of the Rings, their lord is called Golaskil, and he recruits hunters, herdsmen, and villagers to come and defend Minas Tirith. And they were badly equipped with like farm equipment and shit, allegedly, but they showed willingness. Now that's real fucking courage. Like they don't even have the equipment, and they turn up. It's great. Then we've got 2 more places, which is Blackroot Vale, very famous for its archers. Didn't know that. And their lord Duinir, which means River Lord in Sindarin, took his archers to the battles of Pelennor Field, and his sons were killed in the defense of Minas Tirith, called Derufin and Duilin. And then finally, you've got Ringor Vale, which is a snowy, cold area of Gondor, and there's a high snowfield where the river Ringlow flowed from. The name Ringlow means chill flood. Ring is cold, and low is flood. And in Lord of the Rings, 300 warriors came on foot. And that was a fun diversion, and I don't know why I went into that amount of detail, but people go goo-goo for Gondor, so why not? You now know 9 areas of Gondor you might not have known before. It's a big fucking... When I was writing this, I was like, it's a big fucking place.
Bloody hell.
Wow. But anyway, basically, so if Sauron attacks, then these areas are going to be fucked because they're open to attacks from elsewhere while they're distracted. Blah. So Ecthelion lets him take some ships, and this is Aragorn's Vietnam, right? He goes up the river by night, fucking Fortunate Son playing in the background, like... He sets fire to some ships in some guerrilla warfare and slays the captain of the Haven of Umbar before they pull out. There was barely any casualties or deaths. So then they were set to return to Minas Tirith, where there'd be like a big celebration. It's a massive victory for them. But Aragorn sends a message from Pelagia to Ecthelion saying, other deeds await me. And he just disappears into the night. His men are gutted, but he just departs. And he goes into the south and the east among the Haradrim and the Easterlings. Frustratingly, because we went south and east, Tolkien never wrote anything about that. No idea what happens there. but it says he goes to know the heart of the enemy and what he's up to, but whatever. During this time, apart from being an absolute badass, Aragorn is renowned for wearing a silver star on his cloak, and everyone except Denethor loves him. Denethor suspects that he's the heir of Isildur, probably suspects he's the heir of Isildur, and he's jealous that his own dad seems to love Thorongil more than he loves him, seeding some bitterness that will come to fruition down the road. Aragorn, as Thorongil, advises Ecthelion to trust Gandalf and distrust Saruman, whereas Denethor distrusts distrusts Gandalf and hates Aragorn because he thinks they're planning to usurp him.
Yeah.
There's the paranoia. And when he goes from Gondor, we'll read again. He went alone into the east and the deep into the south, exploring the hearts of men, both evil and good, and uncovering the plots and devices of the servants of Sauron. Thus he became at last the most hardy of living men, skilled in their crafts and lore, and was yet more than they, for he was elven wise, and there was a light in his eyes that when they were kindled few could endure. His face was sad and stern because of the doom that was laid on him, and yet hope dwelt ever in the depths of his heart, from which mirth could arise at times like a spring from the rock. Which is quite nice, but the world is weighing on him. Like, things is tough. He's a world-weary person. So in the year 2980 of the Third Age, 40 years before the War of the Ring, well, 38 years before the War of the Ring, Aragorn's 49, and he ends up near Mordor after his travels, and he is fucking weary. He is tired. He's bone tired. He's been away. He's been here, there, and everywhere fighting. He's been uncovering plots. He's been saving people. He's been getting kittens out of trees. He's been doing all sorts, and he needs a break. So he decides to go back to Rivendell. Obviously, it's a long journey from Mordor to Rivendell. And he needs a rest before he goes back out into the far countries and carry on with his hero shit, right? So even Batman needs to come back to Wayne Manor every now and then. And on his way back to Rivendell, he passes Lothlorien, and Galadriel says, "Hey, come on in. We're having a party." She doesn't. She just admits him to the land. And Arwen also happens to be here.
Coinkadink.
Perhaps a meet cute. And Galadriel cleans Aragorn up, seeing how hard the world has been on him. She fucking bathed. I like to think she bathed him herself.
Yeah.
There's that same thing. It's like scrubbing a dog down. It's like Aragorn's like trying to bite the water as Galadriel's like spraying him down.
They do like a bath, the elves, like, don't they?
Oh,
They like to bath others.
Love it. Love it.
And clean others up.
They'd make great carers.
Yeah.
For old people. So she clothes Aragorn in silver and white and a cloak of elven grey with a bright gem upon his brow. And now it's time for the turns to table, because this is how Arwen sees him again for the first time in 29 years. He now looks like an elf.
Man.
He doesn't look like a man. He looks like an elf lord from Valinor. That's how good he looks. Imagine having a glow up so good that people think you're an entirely different fucking race. Yet when I wear blackface to work, I get sent home. Bullshit. So it's when Aragorn sees him. It's when Arwen sees Aragorn like this, walking towards her. So he's walking towards her under the trees of Caras Galadhon. The trees looking beautiful with flowers of gold. That she falls in love with him. That's when she's like, "Oh my Christ, Mick, Michael, it's beautiful." And that's it. That's her fate sealed now, right? She's gone. She's done. She knows in that moment that she's going to die a mortal woman. And that's crazy. Like that profound love. That instant
A profound lust.
Yeah, true. That Aragog. Not so smelly now. Galadriel's pulling his foreskin back.
Oh.
That's clean under here. What's this? It smells like Mordor in here. Have you been washing your willy in the dead marshes? They spend an entire season together, spring into summer, wandering together in the trees and the grasses of Lothlorien. And on the evening of midsummer, they go to the hill of Cerin Amroth and they walk barefoot, toes. And it's here that they look towards the shadows of the east and declare their love for each other. He gives her the ring of Barahir as a token of love, and they are engaged. and the conversation is settled, and they're worried about the future. And in time, after this, Aragorn returns to Rivendell, and he and Elrond speak about their love of Arwen, both of them. Elrond says his daughter will marry nobody less than the king of Gondor and Arnor. It's a direct parallel to the task Beren was given by Thingol when he wanted to marry Luthien. So this family has played out ideas, is what I'm saying. There's no fucking originality in these fuckers. And it then comes back actually to that thing again about like Tolkien's is a post-apocalyptic world where everything's in decline. We've now got a lesser echo of the Beren and Luthien story with the same blood running through their veins. You know, it's like a lesser version. It's still an epic fantasy, amazing love story, but it is still a lesser version. He's not going into hell to steal a Silmaril from the devil and fighting a werewolf. He is fighting a war against the devil's greatest servant to become a king
Yeah.
with lots of lesser jewels in his crowns. So yeah, it's interesting. So I'll read it all in full in a second, right? But after this, Aragorn's life continues on for a few years. We're getting close to the events of Lord of the Rings now. And he journeys and works against Sauron, but this time Arwen is watching over him from afar. And I'll read now some of their conversation and then the scene with Elrond so you can appreciate all of it. And Arwen said, "Dark is the shadow, and yet my heart rejoices. For you, Estelle, shall be among the great whose valour will destroy it." But Aragorn answered, "Alas, I cannot foresee it, and how it may come to pass is hidden from me. Yet with your hope I will hope, and the shadow I utterly reject. But neither, lady, is the twilight for me, for I am mortal, and if you will cleave to me, even star, then the twilight you must also renounce." And she stood then as still as a white tree looking into the west, and at last she said, "I will cleave to you, Dunedain, and turn from the twilight. Yet there lies the land of my people and the long home of all my kin." She loved her father dearly, and when Elrond learned the choice of his daughter, he was silent, though his heart was grieved and found the doom long feared none the easier to endure. But when Aragorn came again to Rivendell, he called to him and he said, "My son, years come when hope will fade, and beyond them little is clear to me. And now a shadow lies between us. Maybe it has been appointed so that by my loss the kingship of men may be restored. Therefore, though I love you, I say to you, Arwen Undomiel shall not diminish her life's grace for less cause. She shall not be the bride of any man less the king of both Gondor and Arnor. To me, then, even our victory can bring only sorrow and parting, but to you, hope and joy for a while. Alas, my son, I fear that to Arwen the doom of men may seem hard at the ending." So it stood afterwards between Elrond and Aragorn, and they spoke no more of the matter. But Aragorn went forth again to danger and toil, and while the world darkened and fear fell on Middle-earth, as the power of Sauron grew and Barad-dûr rose even taller and stronger, Arwen remained in Rivendell. And when Aragorn was abroad from afar, she watched over him in thought, and in hope she made for him a great and kingly standard, such as only one might display who claimed the lordship of the Númenóreans and the inheritance of Elendil. Also, in the books, she gives him this standard and unfurling the standard of the king. It's a big moment. I think it's in the films as well. And so Aragorn carries on, right? And that's him. He's working his great labours. He's out in the world. He's doing shit. And it's in the year 3001, about 20 years after this, that we'll pick up next time on the next episode with Aragorn and the hunt for Gollum, soon to be adapted into a hit motion picture. And actually, next episode, we have Andy Serkis who's going to join us, so make sure to tune in. That's not true. He's not. He's not coming on. I have a picture of him with me from a comic convention, and Becca met him in an airport once, but I don't think he's coming on the podcast. Pretty sure last time I texted him, he said he wasn't.
I think he's a bit busy at the minute.
Probably. Better be filming the fucking hunt for Gollum, I suppose. I'm not that keen on the idea of it, but yeah, we'll get to the hunt for Gollum next time, and you'll see just how little material there is to work with for this fucking film. And then we'll also probably get to the War of the Ring. I imagine we'll finish off his lifetime next episode, but I won't hold myself to it because we know how that goes. There'll be another fucking 12 episodes. But no, we'll finish off his life, and then I'll do all of his gear. Steroids. Crack.
Ozempic.
That's epic. Yeah, he was actually really fat. I gotta get the king body. But no, that's it. That's it. So, how are you feeling? You look fucking tired.
I feel a bit exhausted. I think it's just the week that I've had, and also just watching you
Mm-hmm.
spouting everything, all this knowledge, while stood looking like a Greek philosopher in your towel. Because, guys, that towel and robe came off during the recording, so
Right.
he's just in his towel now.
They've got to pay for my OnlyFans to see that. It just gets hot in here. This is what most podcasters won't tell you, right? If you sit in a room and you close the door, it gets pretty fucking hot, and you can't have fans on because it fucks with the sound. So yeah, most podcast rooms get quite hot.
And everyone just records in towels.
I imagine most podcasts, unless they're in a studio, they'll be butt naked sometimes. Guaranteed. Guaranteed there'll be at least, there'll be a snail trail or a flopped willy, some tiddle mucus somewhere.
Oh,
It happens. But
sweaty liskers.
Sweaty liskers. But yeah, that's it. I hope you're having a good time wherever you are. Hope you've enjoyed the podcast. Feel free to reach out with any questions. Come and join the Discord if you want. Buy my book, which is just out there. I've not wrote for a while actually. I've had a break for a couple of weeks. So I've been ill and blah blah blah. But yes, we'll be back in another couple of weeks with the next episode. And until then, hope you have a good one. So it's bye from me, Chris.
And bye from Rebecca.
Bye.
Bye.